So there's that. Eric, how do you pronounce your last name?
Wonderful question. I don't really know. You can say Prochnau.
Prochnau. All right.
Yeah.
And Alex Maxson. All right. I'm here with Alex Maxson and Eric Prochnau.
Alex? Who's Alex?
Alex. Alan Maxson. I got the hard name and I missed the easy one. Jesus. I'm here with Alan Maxson and Eric Prochnau, the director and one of the stars of Alien Planet. Actually, let's just start off with that. Alan, when does Alien Planet come out? Because I looked up, you crowdfunded this, and I'm guessing I don't know how long ago, but usually how crowdfunding goes, tends to be a long journey to get to the final product and final release.
It's available now.
Sweet. Where can one find it?
You can find it on streaming and Blu-ray, and links to every option are on alienplanetfilm.com.
Well, hell, let's start with that, the Blu-ray, because what's on the Blu-ray? Because those are unicorn these days, it seems.
The Blu-ray is my favorite because one, it's the absolute highest quality and of picture and sound. It's made from a 4K master, and it looks and sounds gorgeous. And it has 3 exclusive extra features that will not be available on streaming. So if you want to see a behind the scenes, a making of / interview with me, and deleted scenes, 8 minutes of deleted scenes, you have to buy the Blu-ray.
Awesome. And if IMDb is to be believed, it said the budget on this was like 65,000. How the hell do you make this movie with 65,000? Or more importantly, how do you write the script and you look at the script and go, that's how much we need? Or do you just raise as much as you can and you're like, this is what we got, we need to start making cuts now?
A combination of all of that. So I guess to answer your questions in order, how do you make a movie for that amount? I think with Indiegogo and a few people who donated outside of it, I think it was probably close to 70 grand total. How do I do it is a lot of favors and asking people to do it for rates that they should not have done it for. Sorry, Eric. I'm sorry I paid you so little. But I think the thing,
got paid in love, Alan. We got paid in love.
Well, it's true. And I think the thing is everyone who was involved in this, every single cast and crew member, they wanted to be there. Everybody was excited about the script. Everyone was excited about the concept. And I was very open. When I did the crowdfunding, I made sure to reiterate myself many times, because I did basically a telethon, and I did a video every single day. And I made sure to reassure every backer I took $0. So I worked every day for 3 years for free to make this movie. So I think when the captain of the ship is willing to dedicate that much time and effort for free, I think it's easier. I mean, maybe Eric can disagree, but I think it's easier for others to go, you know what? Yeah, this is truly actually a passion project, and I'm willing to take a little bit of a pay cut because I believe in what the final product will be. And so far, I unless everybody just lies to my face, I think everybody's happy with the final product. Eric, you better put your acting hat on. Lie to me.
Well, Eric, I'll leave the floor to you. Go ahead and disagree.
I will not disagree actually at all, because Alan really embodying the captain of the ship is probably the best metaphor to use for him, because he was more than the director. This was his director's passion project that he also functioned as producer on. He wore all the hats, and he did it very well. And I keep telling people, pay attention to what Alan does, as far as anybody who has ambitions to create independent films should follow his example, because he was meticulous, he was detailed, he was exacting, but he was also super pleasant to work with. Alan's really a package deal, and it was an incredible experience because of that.
Well, except for the day when I beat you, I think we had physical alteration, and I whooped you, and
Well, we signed a contract that we weren't going to discuss that anymore. So, I mean, we're already
I'll cut it out. It's fine. It's fine. But for other indie filmmakers that they got their scripts or they got their movie they want to make, like what you got yours made, and congratulations. That's no small feat. What's some tips that you can give someone trying to get their own movie made?
No matter what, finish it. Because this is, I did another one of these with Eric recently, and so he'll probably get tired of hearing me regurgitate stuff. But I my first film I made, this was either 2014 or 2016, somewhere in there. I made a feature for $1,000, and it's a garbage movie. It's absolutely horrendous, but I finished it, and it was a stepping stone. And then after that, I was like, cool, let's make another one. So I invested $5,000 into a short film, and I said, instead of long form, let's make a very high quality short film. And so I invested into that, proved that I could finish a long form product, proved that I could finish a short form quality product. And then it was time to put the two together and ask the public for money.
Yeah. Where's most of the budget for something like this go? I'm guessing a lot of it's on practical effects, which it's a low budget movie, so there's some seams for sure, but for the most part, and given the budget you had, I think it looks great.
Thank you. Yeah, I would say, so we'll just be blunt. The budget, we said was roughly, say, $70K. I think it was 30 or 35,000 was to makeup and prosthetics and puppets and all the character designs.
Yeah. Was there anything
most important? It was the most important thing. Like for a movie like this, I had to invest in making it look good.
What were some things that you had to cut? Like, so you write the script, this is the movie I want to make, and obviously, like the budget's not going to allow for certain scenes, or certain things have to be cut. What are some things that you had in the original script that you had to cut, and you were like, I really wish we could have kept that, but we cannot keep that?
That's a great question. There's a handful of things. So I guess the biggest thing is there's probably about 20 or 30 pages that I had to cut. When I raised all the money, I broke down my script to an actual shooting shot list and a schedule, and saw that we only had 12 principal photography days and 14 total days of shooting. And so I had to kill a few scenes, and I condensed it, put some of that exposition, different scenes, and found ways to make it work within our budget. Because I mean, if you don't have money to shoot past 14 days, you don't have the money. So you have to make it work. But then there's other alteration things too. I know two things that come to mind is the big ending, which I won't spoil for anyone, had a much more visually hardcore ending that would have, I think, cost a lot more. And so I had to alter it a little bit. And then there's a handful of things like, Gairi, when she barfs on people originally in the script, like now in the movie, she barfs and it heals them. In the script originally, she would dig into it, eat it viciously, so it looked like she was tearing the person apart, and that would be in her stomach, and she'd regurgitate that back out, and you'd see it healing that way. But that's a huge process to see her eating it and tearing flesh. And then there's also things like I think I had a scene where Locke's arm actually falls off, and it was supposed to, in the script, you see it actually disconnect and all the tendons and everything fall out. And to have a fake arm built, have it come off, the time also doing all of the effects takes a lot of time, so that adds more shoot days. So I had to alter a lot of stuff like that based on budget.
Well, speaking of the regurgitation scenes, those are really well done. I'm guessing you did something similar to what they did in Raiders of the Lost Ark, the make it in wax and melt it and reverse it. But love the Gremlin shirt, best movie ever made. But sorry,
it's one of the best movies ever made.
I digress. But there's the scene. There's a scene where someone heals, but it's not a close-up shot; it's a wider shot. So, like, was that done the same way, or was that comped in, or how was that one done? Without saying what that scene is, but I think you know what I'm talking about.
I think we can spoil it a little bit. I mean, if you're listening to this, let's sell it. Go watch this movie, audience. But yes, it was Raiders of the Lost Ark style. And in fact, that was the whole goal from the beginning. I told myself, I'm going to do this the same way they did Raiders. But for some dumb reason, when I filmed the actual melting of it, rather than, because I knew, I was like, just mimic whatever they did. Instead of actually mimicking it, I don't know why I didn't go back and double check to see what they used. And I had like 5 takes. I first built it with what did I build?
We're using steel and it's just not melting at the
Yeah, I used a handful of different materials, and you'd be shocked how stuff does not melt. And finally on the 4th try, I was like, I'm a fucking idiot. Go watch the making of, the reason why I had the idea to even do this. And I saw it was with gelatin. So I just went and bought some gelatin and made it and painted it, and boom, it worked absolutely perfect. But like, I'll tell you, chocolate doesn't work. Play-Doh doesn't work. There's a couple other things.
Play-Doh just gets hard, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was shocked. I thought Play-Doh would melt, but yeah, it just gets crispy. And chocolate melts, but it just sits in a goop. It doesn't like drip away like gelatin, because gelatin is so watery based that it has a nice vibe to it.
Nice.
And what I did was, so we shot the scenes on set. So example, on the wider shot, we actually had the actor lay there. And it was a long shot. You see it for a while. And so he's breathing. So it took multiple steps. So we just had him lay there and there's nothing on him. We filmed it. Then when we came to post, I took him and I did a garbage mat around him, freeze framed his body so that he was not breathing. But I kept Guy and the dirt and the plants and everything around it outside of the mat so that it has life and it's moving. And then there's 2 steps to it. In my garage, I laid the shirt down that he's wearing. I placed the fake gelatin mold of his chest. And I had to think in reverse terms because it's going backwards. So first I took the heat gun, melted it. And then I went over and I had a bottle of goo. And I placed it exactly where Guy would have been in the shot. And I had a reference picture. And I squirted all the goo so you can see it looks like she's vomiting. And then I took that, went into Avid, and on top of my animats, I added another one. And I comped in the melting and the goo and just blended it all together. So it was all practical, digitally comped together.
Nice. And Eric, I apologize. I don't remember a long-haired, handsome fellow wearing a sweet-ass Hawaiian T-shirt in the movie. What was your character in this? Were you the monster in the spaceship?
I was the dweller.
Okay.
Big, wordless creature.
And what was that kind of makeup like, or suit? I'm guessing it was. And what was kind of your process of playing the dweller?
It was a suit. It was a lot of fun. And I feel actually like I got a little bit spoiled because although I played the nominal creature, typically, projects like this, the creature's the one that has the longest prep time in the chair and everything. But in this case, because the suit was one kind of big piece and then a separate helmet on top of like a motorcycle helmet, I actually had a really easy process getting in and out. And I felt bad for my fellow actors who had beautiful, beautiful makeup but had to spend hours getting that all perfect. So the process for getting in and out of the suit was piece of cake easy for me, which was nice.
Nice.
For playing the dweller, it was, Alan and I spent time, just like you do with any project, taking time to discuss the character, discuss especially a creature like this, sort of its habitat, how it moves, what it thinks, how it, just boring actor prep stuff. And then the challenge of something like this is a costume like that will be, just have different like quirks and bugs like that. Like, oh, if you move this way, it gets stuck, or like parts of it might be more fragile than other parts, and there's just sort of things to work around and work with, and that's sort of fun challenge of looking at a suit like that.
Yeah.
But you did it so well, Eric. I remember on set, there's a handful of times where just your body language, because when you watch the movie, if you pay attention to the shots of the Dweller, we do have wides and full bodies, but a lot of it is you see the feet come into frame, or you see the hand, or it's just the head. Like, we have a lot of really tights on the Dweller, and the way you brought each part of your body to life was so great with the suit, because not only did you work with all of the obstructions and the restrictions for that suit, but you made it menacing. Like the way that I remember there's one moment where you drop the carcass to Brochit and you turn to him and you just go before you walk off. And it's like the Dweller's just saying, like, eat that goddamn thing. I'm not even going to attempt to intimidate you because you know what I can do. And like to me, I read a whole paragraph of internal dialogue with just that one snort in his direction. So your body gave off such wonderful performances for it.
Well, thank you. I mean, I appreciate that. And I want to work hard to it's a big honor. I've said this before, but for the listeners who don't know, Alan is a famed creature actor himself, who's really good at what he does. And
Mira, I believe.
To be, and for him to ask you to be a creature, you're like, all right, cool, I better not fuck it up, or excuse me, mess it up.
No, fuck it up, fine.
Oh, great, good. Fuck it up.
That was the correct response.
Okay, yeah. So you want to make sure that you do. Every creature needs to be individually done and individually realized, but you want to. I think that's the nice part about the collaboration that everybody Alan had on set too. A lot of people knew each other before, people from the same circles and stuff. And because you're working with other people you've worked with before, you just want to like constantly raise the bar for each other and do well by each other.
Yeah. And you guys worked on this for 14 days, 15 days. Like what? I'm constantly jealously looking at your Gremlin shirt, which I might sneak over to your house and steal it from you. But
so I'll tell you, you can actually get this on TeePublic. This is from the Gremlins Museum. My buddy Ian owns it, and he actually has, I think he has like 10 screen-used Gremlin puppets.
Oh,
and they're all beautifully restored. And I think it's gremlinsmuseum.com, and I think there's follow Instagram, because like he posts everything Gremlin. It's amazing.
You're gonna have to send me a link, and I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get one of those Gremlin puppets.
This Gremlin, the story behind it. This is a G1 Gremlin. He found this on eBay, and he sent me the link, and he goes, "Notice anything weird about this Gremlin puppet?" And I'm looking at the link, and so far the highest bidder was $200.
That's it?
Well, here's the thing. It was labeled as a Trick or Treat puppet. Trick or Treat Studios make the knockoff puppets for $100.
Okay.
But I'm looking at it and I go, that's not a Trick or Treat Studios puppet. You could tell, like, if you're a fan, you're like, that thing is screen used. So he was like, don't you dare bid on it, Alan. And I was like, you found it. I was like, I will not fight you. And so he won for $200. And he got it restored, and it looks beautiful. And he even sent it to Chris Wallace to get his, I guess, like approval. And he goes, "Oh yeah, that's one of mine for sure."
I am so jealous right now. But anyway, the whole reason I brought it up, but you gave me a great story, so I'm not going to stop you there. But famously, Joe Dante talks about the shooting of Gremlins and how much of a headache it was working the Mogwai and the Gremlins. Like, when you're dealing with puppets and practical effects, as cool as they look on screen, they can, they do pose their challenges. So we're kind of and you guys had such a short shoot. Like, what were some of the challenges you had working with practical effects, or just in the shoot in general?
What would you say, Eric? I'll let you handle this one. What were something that you thought was, in such a short time, what made it difficult for you?
It's tough because, in all honesty, I think it doesn't make a very good story, but the shoot went, from my point of view at least, very well. It went very well. So, boring story. We shot for a couple of weeks. We had a good time in the end.
Boring story. It was a wonderful summer camp.
Right. It was a wonderful summer camp. And I recognize I have the privilege of being an actor alone in it while you did everything else. So, again, from my walled garden experience, it was wonderful. I'm sure it's different from yours. But the only thing I noticed that was maybe a challenge was we had certain gags just because of budget and resources. There were certain gags where it was like, cool, we gotta hopefully do this right the first shot. Sometimes you just have one take for certain things because either you only have a limited supply of that item, or it's going to take a long time to reset. And one of the things I remember in particular was there's a moment where I picked up another character and slammed them against the wall so that their head hits a wall and there's a blood gag.
Oh,
And I remember that moment specifically being one of those like, okay,
that
cool.
was only shot. Yeah,
this is it. Like, we got to hit this right, especially because, the mess to clean that up, everything. And the way I remember it, the cannon went off even like 3 times better than we thought. It was this huge mess. And you were kind of like,
bigger.
Yeah,
We never
like, awesome, great, bigger. Yeah.
I know the scene you're talking about, and when I saw that, I was like, well, they're dead, right?
That's not
That's so much blood.
That was
Alan's got reasons. Alan's got a reasoning. He no, they're not human, so you don't know how much blood they have in their heads. So this big brain thing,
and it could have been something else because the back of their head looks like there's maybe an orifice or something back there.
Well, or not Rick. Eric said, I have, and I do, is when they're captive, Brochit says to Locke, can you hear me through that thick skull of yours? That's their anatomy. Their skull is so thick that when they have a huge smash like that, yeah, their skin might break and blood will come out, but their brain's still protected.
All right. What's some other kind of stuff that's not necessarily in the again, not stuff that you had to cut from the script into the movie, but just kind of backstory or character biology, or like how much of that goes into your process of writing, if any, and how much of that do these creatures have?
I think a lot because they're not human, it allows you to have different anatomy and plot points. One big thing in the movie is when Locke thinks Brochit is dead. He even explains his anatomy, and she's like, "Save me the anatomy lesson, Brochit." And it's extremely important. Otherwise, we'd be like, "Why is he not dead? Why is he still alive?" And that's the fun of it. It's very Star Trek. It's very much Spock. I think we find out at one point when they think he's dead, he's like, "No, that's not where my heart is actually." And I think we revealed that in the 60s at some point. And so it's a cool vibe like that where you can suspend belief and add some fantasy to it.
Yeah. Well, Zoom's running out, so let's end this part, and then I'll send another Zoom link, and then we can get into spoiler parts. But I want to ask you both the question that we asked everyone. We have a what's in the box segment, and what to put in the box are movies that are important to you, or kind of movies that you really like but no one ever watches. But I also want to give you a second one, which is, for you, what's a good double feature for this? I think Enemy Mine's the obvious one, but I think you can dig a little deeper than that, because Alan, I heard an interview with you where you're talking about the deeper meanings behind this, and I'm guessing you probably have something other than Enemy Mine that would make a more compelling double feature. But a movie you want to put in the box and a good double feature for this, and this goes for both of you.
Eric?
Oh gosh, I gotta go first, huh? Well, shoot. I will say that the movie that keeps coming to mind lately is my favorite childhood movie that I think is appropriate: The Return of Swamp Thing, featuring Dick Durock and Heather Locklear.
It's so much better than the first one.
It's so much better. It's so good. And I love the first one too. I love the character. But the second one is a must-see, underrated pick. And I think it would pair well with Alien Planet.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's so many movies. I think I might say Critters. I think Critters would go well with Alien Planet. For less of the social commentary and more for the little puppets and the fun and the blood gags and the campiness. I think it would be a good pair.
Yeah. And do you have a movie you'd like to put in the box? Like something that's like, man, this is a really good one and no one ever talks about it.
Cannibal the Musical.
Yes. Yes. I love you guys so much. This is awesome.
And I feel like
you come in with the awesome Gremlins t-shirt, you bring up Cannibal the Musical and Return to Swamp Thing. Fuck you guys. You're making everyone else look bad.
They're good movies, you know?
Yeah. Oh,
all right.
Fox movie. I'm going to say, Alan and I think we've talked about it briefly before, but I'll say it because it hasn't come up in a minute. Alien Nation.
Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining me.
Actually, I got to tell the audience, I actually like the TV series better than the movie.
TV series is pretty tight.
I do too. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah,
and then all the made-for-TV movies that continue since the season got canceled.
Yeah. Actually, Alien Nation is like one of those I wonder what, like, because like Predator kind of picked up and kept going, Alien kind of picked up and kept, like, there's so many movies within like the 80s and early 90s that kind of kept going. Alien Nation isn't one of those, and I don't quite know why, because it's a pretty fantastic movie. And yeah, the TV series is pretty awesome too.
Yeah, and they rebooted that V. Was it V?
Yeah.
Similar thing. And I'm surprised. I agree. Why haven't they done Alien Nation?
V is fantastic. I love that series.
But anywho, thanks for joining me. We'll end this part now, but this is not the last of it. We'll go into some spoiler stuff later on. But Alan, Eric, thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much. Watch the movie. AlienPlanetFilm.com. Woo-woo.